There was a time when the music industry sold sound. A singer walked into a studio with a voice, a story, and a melody. If the music moved people, the career moved forward. Talent was the foundation. The audience connected to the voice, the lyrics, the emotion. But somewhere along the way, something shifted. The industry did not stop selling music. It simply discovered that something else could sell faster: image. And in the case of many young female artists, that image has increasingly become sexualized. This transformation did not happen overnight. It happened slowly, quietly, and strategically. At first, the changes seemed small: a slightly bolder photo shoot, a more revealing stage outfit, a music video that leaned a little more into visual appeal than musical storytelling. Then the changes became bigger. Before long, many artists who entered the industry with a love for music found themselves in a completely different environment, one where image often mattered more than the sound coming out of the speakers. Young artists enter with passion. Most young artists do not enter music thinking about branding strategies or marketing psychology. They enter because they love music. Many started singing in church choirs, school talent shows, or small community performances. They wrote songs in their bedrooms. They practiced guitar until their fingers hurt. They dreamed about standing on a stage, sharing something real with an audience. For many of these young women, music is personal. It is expression. It is storytelling. It is identity. When they finally get discovered by a label or management team, it feels like the dream has come true. But that dream often comes with a system that has its own priorities. And those priorities are not always about music. Image begins to take control. Once an artist signs with a label, the environment changes. Suddenly, there are marketing meetings, branding discussions, image consultations, social media strategies, public relations planning. And somewhere in those conversations, a subtle shift often happens. Someone suggests a new photo shoot concept. Someone recommends a stylist who knows how to create a stronger visual identity. Someone proposes a music video concept that will get attention online. At first, the suggestions might sound harmless. They are presented as part of building a successful career. But the direction often moves in one specific direction: more skin, more sexual appeal, more visual shock value. Because the industry knows something very well: attention sells, and sexualized imagery grabs attention faster than almost anything else. When image becomes more important than talent, this is where one of the biggest problems begins. In many cases, the industry starts prioritizing appearance over artistry. A singer with an incredible voice may suddenly be told that her success depends on how she looks in a music video. A songwriter with meaningful lyrics may be pushed towards songs that fit a more provocative brand image. The message becomes clear, even if it is not said directly. Talent is important, but image is more important. And once that message enters the system, it changes the entire creative process. Songs are no longer built only around musical inspiration. They are built around how the artist will look performing them. Music videos are not simply visual storytelling. They become marketing tools designed to create viral attention. The brand becomes the focus. The music becomes secondary. Marketing machines behind the scenes. It's important to understand that these changes do not happen randomly. They are often part of carefully designed marketing strategies. Record labels operate like large corporations. Their goal is profit, and profit in the music industry often depends on visibility. Marketing teams analyze trends. They study what captures attention on social media. They examine which artists generate the most clicks, shares, and views. And over time, one pattern has become very clear. Sexualized imagery spreads faster. It creates headlines. It generates controversy. It fuels online discussion. In a digital environment where attention equals money, this kind of imagery becomes extremely valuable to marketing departments. So, artists are gradually shaped into brands that fit this formula. Stylists design the look, directors design the videos, PR teams craft the narrative. And sometimes, the artist who originally walked in with a guitar and a notebook begins to disappear behind the brand that has been created around her. The message sent to young fans. This transformation does not just affect the artists themselves, it also affects the millions of young fans watching from the outside. Many young girls grow up admiring female artists. They watch their interviews, they learn their songs, they study their fashion. These artists often become role models, whether intentionally or not. So when a young singer who once appeared relatable and authentic suddenly shifts into a highly sexualized image, the message can become confusing. Young fans start asking silent questions. Is this what success looks like? Is this what confidence means? Is this what I need to become to be admired? For teenagers and young girls who are still forming their sense of identity, these messages can have a powerful psychological impact. They may begin to believe that attention and value are connected to appearance and sexual appeal, not talent, not creativity, not character, just image. The narrative of empowerment. One of the most interesting aspects of this transformation is the way it is often explained to the public. When artists adopt more sexualized branding, the change is frequently framed as empowerment. The narrative goes something like this. The artist is taking control of her image. She is expressing confidence. She is reclaiming power over how she presents herself. And in some cases, artists genuinely feel that way. Some may truly see their choices as expressions of personal freedom. But there's another layer that often goes unexamined. The commercial pressure behind those choices. When an entire marketing system is built around the idea that sexual imagery increases sales, streams, and views, it becomes difficult to separate personal empowerment from industry incentives. Sometimes, what appears to be empowerment may actually be a carefully managed business strategy designed to maximize profit. The human cost behind the spotlight. Behind the glamorous performances and polished music videos, many artists face intense pressure. They are expected to maintain a certain image at all times. They are expected to stay relevant in an industry that constantly demands something more shocking, more viral, more visually provocative. And this pressure can take a toll. Some artists begin to feel disconnected from the person they originally were. The brand becomes larger than their identity. The public persona becomes a costume they must wear every day. Mental health struggles are not uncommon in the entertainment world. Anxiety, burnout, and identity conflicts often develop when the gap between the public image and the private self becomes too wide. Fame can amplify success, but it can also magnify pressure. Artists who push back. Despite the powerful forces within the industry, not every artist follows the same path. Some choose to resist the pressure to conform to highly sexualized branding. They focus on songwriting. They focus on musicianship. They focus on storytelling. These artists may not always dominate headlines, but they often build loyal audiences who appreciate authenticity. They remind listeners that music can still be about creativity, emotion, and artistic expression, and their presence proves something important. The industry may push certain trends, but it does not completely control every voice. Authenticity still has power. Why awareness matters. For fans, especially young audiences, awareness is important. Understanding how the industry operates allows listeners to view what they see on screen with a more critical eye. It helps people recognize that many images presented in music videos and marketing campaigns are carefully designed products, not always spontaneous expressions of identity. When audiences understand the mechanics behind the scenes, they gain the freedom to appreciate artists for their music without being pulled into the illusion that image defines value. Awareness also encourages healthier conversations about confidence, identity, and self-worth. Because true confidence doesn't come from fitting into a marketing strategy. It comes from knowing who you are. A different future for music. The future of music does not have to follow the same pattern. Technology has already begun changing the industry. Artists today can release music independently. They can build audiences through authenticity rather than corporate branding. Streaming platforms, social media, and independent distribution allow musicians to reach listeners without always relying on traditional label systems. This creates an opportunity, a chance for a culture that values talent, creativity, and originality more than manufactured image. A chance for artists to grow without being forced into identities designed primarily for profit. And a chance for young fans to see role models whose influence is built on creativity rather than pressure to perform a specific image. The real question: